is going on, guys? And today we're back with another God build guide for the end of Season 4, and this is Fafnir support. Fafnir is heading into HRX, one of the top supports. Honestly, the top support? Maybe RTO is better than him, maybe Geb, but Fafnir is definitely up there. He does struggle a little bit in the early game, obviously, but come late game, boy oh boy is he a pain. We'll take a look at his abilities. If you don't know them already, you could pause that and take a look at them. But we're going to jump into the actual build. Now, starter items is pretty standard. You're going to want to get Watcher's Gift and Boba's Mask. If you think you're going to be playing a little more aggressive early on, if they have early weak team comp, you could get Mark of the Vanguard and Boba's Mask. You could also get Watcher's Gift and Lona's Mask, actually, which, honestly, that's probably the start you'll want to get. Watcher's Gift and Lona's Mask. Or a Boba's Mask and Lona's Mask. It really depends, but that'll be a good start right there. First item, pretty standard on supports nowadays, is Traveler's Shoes. Gives you power, gives you some movement speed, but allows you to get movement speed and health per 5 while you're out of combat, which is really key for supports right now, especially since they start in mid lane, and earlier on they're taking a lot more damage from ganks and stuff like that. Second item, we're going to be getting the staple for supports, and that's Jade Emperor's Crown. It's the standard in support right now. You'll see it built on almost every, I was going to say every, but you can't say every build because it depends on team comps. But if you go watch any of the SPL, almost every single support is buying Jade Emperor's Crown. It's just amazing. For only $21.50, it gives you 20 power, 50 physical protection, 100 health, and enemy gods within 55 units have their physical power reduced by 30 for only $21.50. So that is a really, really good item. After that, we're going to be switching it up. We're going to be getting something that fell hard out of the meta since Season 3 after it got some nerfs, but it's still a decent item. It's not bad in any means necessary, and that's Heartward Amulet. It gives you 45 magical protection, which isn't the highest, 200 health, which isn't the highest, but it's the aura that's really good. Allied gods within 70 units, so it's a big radius, have their magical protections increased by 20, and their mana per 5 increased by 20. So this really helps your other gods, obviously, and since supports generally shadow the mid laner now, this is going to obviously give you magic protection to counteract their mid laner and help your mid laner with their mid laner, since it gives them magic protections as well, and you're giving your mid laner some mana, so it's just a really good item. Well, all allies some mana really, but specifically your mid laner, since you're going to be traveling with them a lot. After that, another item that's used to be primarily with warriors and stuff like that, but you're seeing it picked up a lot more on supports. It costs only 2,100 gold, which is nice. This build is relatively cheap. You will notice that. We can't see right here, but that's the one good thing about this, since Fafnir does take a little bit longer to come on. Gives you 400 health at a Stone of Gaia, 25 health per 5, 15 mana per 5. So you get a big health spike, and then you're constantly getting health and mana from it. The passives are passives, double passive. Yes, keep that in mind. That's why it's really good. If you are hit by a knock-up, knockback, pull, or grab. So any hard CC like that, Sylvanas and Geb, anything that like would comp with a Wheelix, basically. You gain 15% of your maximum health over the next 10 seconds. Can only occur once every 60 seconds. The second passive, you just regenerate 2% of your maximum health every 5 seconds. So you just gain health and health and health. And with Fafnir's passive, just gaining bonus protections from having gold, this item, come late game, combined with this passive, combined with Fafnir late game in general, combined with this build, it's going to make the enemy team very, 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 very hard to kill you. Obviously, at some point, you're going to be selling both of those items. And the next item you're probably going to want to get is Shogun's Kasari. This is another really, really, really good item for supports right now. It gives you 40 magic protection, and the only magic protection we have is from Heartward, so it'll be nice to get a little more there. It gives you 40 protections, 20 more mana per 5, so you're never going to be running out of mana. 10% cooldown since we don't have any right now, and 20% crowd control reduction. And then the allied gods within 70 units have their attack speed increased by 25%. So this is a great support item. You get protections, mana, cooldown, CC reduction, and you help your carries. There's not more you could want in a support item than that. Last item is going to be up to you. I would recommend maybe getting a little more cooldown reduction. If you're having trouble with that, you could get something like a Spirit Robe, because you only have 10% right now. You could also get something like a Mantle of Discord if you really snowballed and you have a lot of extra gold, a Magi's Blessing if they have a lot of CC, but I would honestly recommend a Spirit Robe here. It gives you 40 more protections and both magical and physical, which you can never go wrong with, but it gives you 10% more cooldown, so now you have 20% cooldown reduction, which is nice, and 20% more crowd control. So now you're up to 20% cooldown reduction and 40% crowd control reduction. On top of that, you gain an additional 15% damage mitigation for 3 seconds whenever you're hit with a hard CC. It can only occur once every 15 seconds. This build may not be the most expensive build, but it gets you online early. The Traveler Shoes are relatively cheap. Chain Emperor's Crown is relatively cheap. Heartward's cheap. Stone of Gaia is cheap. And if you really want to think about it, Shogun's is cheap. So you get your first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items for less than... all of them less than 2,200 gold, I think, which is really, really good. And with Fafnir coming on late game, that helps you get to that stage. First relic you're going to want to buy is more than likely Shell. It's kind of the staple for supports right now. You could also get a Heavenly Wings first. It'll probably be between those two. And then for second item, you could get a Blink if you're feeling really zesty. You could also get Heavenly Wings if you didn't get that first. You could get a Cursed Ankh if they have healing. Thorns would be really good for Fafnir. You know, jump in, pop your ult, and then get your Thorns online. Horrific Emblem is also really nice. But if I were going to recommend two, it would probably be Shell and Horrific Emblem. Because Horrific Emblem, being able to slow enemy gods while you're in dragon form, it hurts, man. It really, really does. So that is going to wrap it up, guys. If you enjoyed it, be sure to drop a like and hit subscribe for more builds like this. And until next time, peace.